Hey, you all, and good morning. Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south. More specifically, we are in Memphis, Tennessee. That is the city that you guys voted to send me to. We are currently on the 3rd annual Choose My Adventure road trip. Of course, the voting for the next city is still open. The choices are Branson, Missouri, Hot Springs, Arkansas, or Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to go to subscription tab if you're subscribed, or the community tab on my website if you are not, and vote on what city I go to next. But today we're going to be enjoying the city of Memphis, Tennessee, and I started the day out by coming here to the Memorial Lawn Cemetery, where there is a classic attraction here dating back to the Great Depression, and that is the Crystal Shrine Grotto here. It's been built in the 1930s, took 46 years to complete, was built as a way to attract people to this cemetery here in Memphis, Tennessee, and still to this day stands as a popular attraction here in Memphis, Tennessee. So please follow me. Plenty of parking alongside the cemetery here. Of course, it does warn you to please lock your doors, keep all your valuables locked away. Now, it does say there's complimentary fish food available at the cemetery office. Pretty chilly today. I don't know if any fish are out. They may be in their warm beds. Here is the rustic footbridge here. Now this is, I guess this is a wood, actually I think this is concrete made to look like wood, which is pretty interesting here. So we look at the grotto. Yeah, I don't see any fish. I think the fish might be currently in hibernation. You can see here, all of this is concrete. All of this is part of the art of the grotto here. Now, this may look like a tomb here, but there is actually no one buried in the grotto itself. It is just meant to be a work of art. You can see here, it's labeled as the Cave of Machpelah. And just look at the grading there. Very interesting work there. You can see the face on the grate. Looks like people have made attempts to get inside the cave here. If we can take a little peek, and you can see the artwork in there. Those are not tombs. There's not bodies in there, but you can see some of the artwork back in there. It almost looks like a log coffin or something. But again, I think all the woodwork is actually just concrete meant to look like wood. It's an homage to Domenico A. Rodriguez, 1891 to 1955. He was the artist that actually created the Crystal Shrine Grotto here. It says his body, this is not his grave, it says his body right here, it says his body rests in San Bernardino Cemetery in San Antonio, Texas. See this interesting looking tree here. Actually, again, this is concrete meant to look like wood. You can see this here is called Abraham's Oak, as it's helpfully labeled. So I think we can actually pass through Abraham's Oak here as we make our way into the grotto. Here's the official entrance to the grotto. Oh wow. Yeah, look how ornate this is, all the different rocks, minerals. Let's say the most beautiful head in history. And of course, none other than Jesus's head right there. See where lights have been strung up to add to the vibe of the grotto. Oh wow, yeah, it's very unique. Who's here in this painting? Oh, it's the good Samaritan there, helping the man with his wounds. Carving of Jesus. Yeah, just look at this, all the glowing lights. So over here we have the manger scene where baby Jesus be born. Please do not touch the figures. See the tiny little baby Jesus there. Some people have thrown money in there, added some coins or tips to little baby Jesus. I don't know who this baby is. If this is a backup baby Jesus there. And I don't know if this is one of the original figures. Baby Jesuses are prone to kidnapping for some reason. Hooligans love to kidnap little baby Jesuses. Looking up above the manger, you can actually see there's some like skylights built into the grotto, into the fake cave, and actually made out of like more translucent minerals to create like a skylight effect. And then it looks like roots traveling through the top. But yeah, this is the concrete meant to look like wood. The artist apparently was a fan of making false wood that looks like concrete. Or rather, concrete that looks like wood. And the false stalactites dangling down. And then we have different biblical scenes. Here's Jesus in the temple. I guess the figures made at different times. It says 1939. These sculptures were added. It looks over here almost like we have like a black light effect. Yeah, notice the different figures in the different scenes seem very different. I guess different artists created the different scenes here. Yeah, look at that. Very interesting effect there. Different types of minerals in this scene. This is the Sermon on the Mount. This is by David Day in 1978. This is the raising of Jairus' daughter. Not familiar with that Bible story. If anyone else is familiar with any of these stories, please leave a comment in the comments section. There's a tree back in here. It says Zacharias up the tree. Okay, Zacharias. I think I remember this story where the little guy wanted to see Jesus. So he climbed up the tree. You can see little Zacharias there climbing in the tree. This is called the Transfiguration. It says this is the prophet Elijah, Jesus Christ, and Moses all together. I guess that's Jesus Christ there in the front. That's very interesting, like cement and glass. It's like it's made of cement, but like his hair and beard are made of glass. There's a wood sculpture of the Last Supper, or at least the bodies are made of wood and the heads are made of concrete. A lot of mixed media there. And then Christ in Gethsemane. See Jesus praying right there. If you look closely, you can see like the scenery on the back wall of the concrete. And the crucifixion scene on the mural there. Again, of the different lighting, the different colors, really had kind of a surreal feel to everything. And then this is the resurrection there. You see the angel and then Jesus appearing in the sky. Yeah, I find it really interesting, like the dangling aspect. Like I said, almost like false stalactites hanging everywhere. This one here almost looks like a upside down mushroom there. Very interesting, very fascinating place we have here. And I do really appreciate the super old school security system here. Look at that Panasonic video recorder. Then buried directly across from the Crystal Shrine Grotto is Isaac Hayes. He's a singer, songwriter, and actor here. You can see his stone emblazoned with different moments of his life, as well as different movie roles that he was in. You can see him standing there pointing a gun. I'm not sure what movie that is. I know he wrote the theme song for the movie Shaft. Right there it says King Nene Karthi Okanzi I. I know a lot of people probably remember him from, he was the voice of Chef in South Park. You do not see Chef anywhere on this mural. I know he later denounced that role because he was a Scientologist and did not like the way that South Park portrayed Scientology. But here you can see his whole, all these different scenes from his life on his stone. So other musicians buried in the same cemetery, Jimmy Lee Lindsay Jr., it says AKA Jay Reatard, and he was the Memphis punk rocker. And over here, buried under this bench, it says Marshall Grant, who was the bass player for Johnny Cash. Of course, this cold weather gives us the special opportunity to check out some of the great museums across the country, some of the indoor attractions, and I figured since we were here in Memphis, we would take time to stop by the Pink Palace, also known as the Memphis Museum of Science and History. Interesting fact, this home was originally built in the 1920s. It was the home of the founder of the Piggly Wiggly grocery store chains. Unfortunately, he ended up going broke while building this house, and the city of Memphis purchased it from him and then converted it into the museum. So let's head inside of the Pink Palace. All right, you guys ready to mosh? We'll start in here with the natural history exhibits, and I'll tell you what, I love a good natural history museum. See some wonderful skeletons here. Alligator skull. This is the skeleton of a monitor lizard. And the mighty tooth of a narwhal, kind of the unicorns of the sea. You have the human evolutionary tree right here. And of course you often see the old image of a monkey on all fours slowly rising and turning into a human. That's not exactly how things come about. As it explains here, humans did not evolve from living apes or monkeys. So these are more cousins than direct descendants here. It tells us a little bit about the process of taxidermy. And this is important because I do collect taxidermy. It says they used arsenic to preserve animals up to the 1990s. So that's if you get some old taxidermy, don't put your hands all over it because arsenic is poison. Now they discovered in 1990 that arsenic was toxic. I think they might have known before then. But it says taxidermists now use borax, which is in laundry detergents. So instead of killing you, it just makes your laundry nice and clean. Here's one of my favorite taxidermied animals, the possum there. Now it looks like this figure, this taxidermied possum, maybe used to hang by its tail, but they've had it reconfigured so it's sitting on all fours, which is more accurate because possums are often portrayed as hanging by their tails, but actually do not do that in the wild. I think I have 2 or 3 possums in my taxidermy collection. Here for a much closer look, we have an animal cell there. I guess this is a giant plant cell and a giant animal cell there. You can see it's crazy to think how small that is and how it still has all those unique little parts to it. It's always fun when they have these taxidermy displays that are half underwater, half above water. Here's a scene from Oxbow Lake. You can see all the fish swimming below the surface. You can see the vicious turtle there devouring a little fish. Some sort of salamander there. Oh yeah, there's a big gar right below the surface of the water. Some happy little turtles sitting there on the log. And look what we have over here, a thrashing, screeching, moaning T-Rex there. You can hear him hissing at us. Very terrifying. Oh, and look over here, hiding in the bushes. We have his favorite meal, the Triceratops. Oh, looks like he's already gotten a hold of him. He's got some blood there on his head. Guess he got away. Now he's hiding from this bush from the T-Rex. Oh, good, he's chilled out and he's relaxing, no longer screeching and thrashing. Oh, there he goes. He's not finished. Mammals of the Mid-South have the armadillo there, kind of the armored cousin to the possum. So up here's where we meet the animals of the Mid-South. Oh dear. Oh, we have a very dark scene over here. I guess this is the nocturnal nighttime scene where all these animals come out at night. The black bear there, the raccoon, the mountain lion. Yeah, very dark display in here. Oh, look at the elk back there. So again, I'm not actually sure right now. I thought this was just the nocturnal animal section, but I'm starting to think that maybe the lights may be burned out in this section of the museum. This buffalo is just like standing in the pitch darkness. As we're going back to the Devonian period here, the age of fishes. Back when fishes ruled the world, along with terrifying sea scorpions. And we got some more dinosaurs here. The Dilophosaurus there. Hopefully he doesn't spit toxic poison on all of us. The mastodon skeleton here. And I guess to see the history exhibits, we need to head upstairs. As we climb up the steps, we see a small exhibit explaining that while dinosaurs often appear in fiction with humans, that sadly they did not live at the same time, which is, you know, is a constant bummer to all human beings. We all wish we got a chance to meet dinosaurs. Here's the saddlebag of a circuit rider, which were kind of like traveling preachers that rode on horseback. Then here it talks about some of the rougher times in Memphis when gambling kind of took over the town. You can see everyone back then was packing heat. See the different pistols and knives there. Some of the tools of gambling, the cards there, and the dice. And I guess the dice made of bones. This is the gambler's lady. This is like a typical Memphis woman from 1835. Said that they wore the very flashy clothes for the time. It says that at that time it was considered scandalous to even see a woman's ankle. And you see she's flashing her ankle just a little bit, but you can't quite see it because she's, you know, she's wearing socks. See the gravestone of A.C. Northcross here. Seeing his gravestone here makes me wonder, where's his body? Maybe his body's still in his grave. Maybe he's just missing his gravestone. As we travel through all these different museums across the South, we see the Civil War obviously played a huge role in Southern history. The Civil War exhibit here, some of the weaponry from the Civil War. We saw this the other day where the war logs were souvenirs of the war, where the wood would become embedded with implements of war, bullets, shrapnel, even whole cannonballs, see, absorbed into the logs there. Then these would be cut down and sold as souvenirs. Let's see these soldiers here. It says Confederate soldiers with captured cannon. You see the determination on their faces as they point this cannon towards their foes. Man, there's a lot of screaming children in this museum. See the very ominous mourning gown there. Women would wear these when their husbands would fail to come back from the war. Some of these Civil War era toys, back when children, you know, enjoyed playing with dolls and little horses instead of going to the museum and screaming. I know when I showed off my bunker, a lot of you said that I needed a rug. And there's a big empty spot in the middle of the floor. I needed a rug to tie the bunker together. What would you guys think of having that rug for my bunker? This section of the museum is called A Century of Healthcare in Memphis. And I assure you, the healthcare in 1830, probably a lot more terrifying than it is today. As you can see by some of these old surgical implements, little tiny pocket surgery kit there. These are the saddlebag doctors who would just put all their surgical tools in their saddlebag and ride in on a horse. You can see some of that old-time medicine there. Woman's got a leech there on her wrist. Now I do understand they do still use leeches to some degree today, so it wasn't completely out there. Talks about patent medicine. It's pretty interesting. A lot of hucksters would sell patent medicine. You know, people would claim to have like these cure-all medications that they would advertise through newspapers and radio. And just look at some of these advertisements here. It says the baby's challenge, and then Ridge Foods is the answer to the baby's challenge. Oh, look at, there is an advertisement for Moxie. It says learn to drink Moxie, very healthful. So advertisement to drink a lot of soda to stay healthy. One thing I can say, Moxie, they still sell Moxie. They no longer market it as a medicine, but it still very much tastes like medicine. Here's the 666 malarial medicine. I remember they actually sold that in the early 2000s. I remember going into a Piggly Wiggly to buy medicine and finding that on the shelf. Now, I forget why they call it 666. I don't think it actually has anything to do with Satan, but still very, very strange how far into the 2000s they sold this medicine. Does anyone else remember 666 medicine being on the shelf? There's some medical fads like phrenology, where they thought they could determine your health and personality by the lumps in your head. And I tell you what, I got a lot of interesting lumps in my head, but unfortunately I don't think phrenology has any basis in the truth. Here is the violet ray machine. I know Edward Casey, the psychic we saw at Hopkinsville, he used the electric violet ray machine as a cure-all. And then a little little bit of electric therapy, a little bit of shock therapy at home. You can see those pads that they would shock your temples with. It's just interesting, all the different ways they thought that they could possibly make you healthy back in the day that was probably ineffective and somewhat terrifying. Some battlefield medicine here during the Civil War. Oh my gosh, this bullet here, you can see this bullet is completely flat. So this is a bullet that they would make them bite during surgery. It says that you can see tooth marks in that actual bullet. The soldier bit down, crushed the bullet, and left teeth marks because he was in so much pain during the delightful Civil War surgery. And you can just look at these items and just imagine what kind of pain he may have been in. And if that leaves too much to the imagination, you can actually see this Civil War surgery right here. See him looking at that bloody foot there, that gangrenous, disgusting foot, and he's like, yep, this one's got to come off. This lucky fellow, I guess he's up next. He's probably just hoping they don't have to amputate his entire head. Talks about nursing here, and this is a lot of the nursing schools were founded by nuns back in the day. Yeah, you can see the nuns operating the hospitals there. There's Dr. N.F. Rains. Actually, that there kind of looks like a ghost with a PhD. It says mosquito-borne disease. You can just imagine, you know, in these moist parts of the country here, what a problem mosquitoes can be. Look at this anti-mosquito poster right here where they have the mosquito in a cage, a giant mosquito in fact. It says, "Enemy of the South." Sign there says, "Do not spit on the floor. To do so may spread disease." You know, I think we should bring these signs back. I think too often you see people spitting in public. And then this here, this is a portable urinary testing laboratory, so you can test urine on the go. Some ear, nose, and throat instruments. You can see the old-timey hearing aid there, where it's kind of just a horn that connects to your ear. What's this here? This is a fountain nasal injector or douche. It's a collection of foreign bodies removed from noses, throats, and lungs. Yikes. Yeah, some of those things are definitely things you don't want in your nose, your throat, or your lungs, like a penny, a nail, or a safety pin. Of course, when they're open like that, they're not all that safe. Here's a Memphis doctor's office from the 1880s. This little boy going for a checkup. And I think my main complaint about modern doctor's offices is there's nowhere near enough skeletons anymore. You go to the old-timey doctor's office, they always had a skeleton hanging there. When I go to my my doctor's, there's like almost no skeletons whatsoever. Some artificial limbs there. And down there you can see there's a bone graft. So that bone has been repaired there. And that bone over there looks like it's just had some zip ties wrapped around it to keep it together. The neurosurgery section here. It's a very interesting display on how pieces of the skull are removed to make way for brain surgery. You can see the skull there and how they use this wire to cut, as they're slowly cutting a square in that skull to get to the precious brain. You can see the bones here, the hands and feet of a skeleton. There's a child's skull used by the School of Dentistry. You can see the dental display there. Just getting in there with some of those nice old-timey dental tools. Yeah, all this reminds me, I actually recently had my first cavity ever. So I'll be going in, I think March, I'm going in to get it filled. Never had a cavity filled before, but looking at these tools there, it's filling me with dread and terror. This old-timey gas mask here is double extra terrifying. Pharmacists there hard at work at inventing new medications. Some old cars back here. Oh, and you see the Piggly Wiggly there. Of course, we are currently in the home of the founder of Piggly Wiggly. Here is the 1923 Model T Ford. It says they originally were intended to all look the same. Said that cars were meant to be utilitarian and not fashion statements. That, of course, has changed quite drastically in modern times. Oh wait, is there someone under the car? Okay, I think they may just be doing a little bit of mechanic work down there. Hopefully. Okay, I guess we just went through the modern part of the Pink Palace. See this over here, we're actually headed into the Pink Palace proper. Oh, look at this. In next month, they're going to be having a exhibit on Sue the T-Rex. We, of course, got to see the actual Sue last November at the Field Museum in Chicago. Now, this is the Cosset Museum Room, and this has kind of an interesting history, especially given where we have been the last couple days. Now, this is a photo here from the Tennessee Centennial Exhibition in 1897. There is the Nashville Parthenon. That's where we were just 2 days ago. It says Centennial Park in Nashville. This water is actually not there next to the Parthenon anymore. But also, if you notice in this picture, there used to be a pyramid here next to the Parthenon in Nashville. Now the Parthenon is still there. This pyramid is gone. This pyramid was set up by Memphis. Memphis has long used Egyptian iconography, so they built this as kind of the pavilion for Memphis, and then this museum here debuted at that Centennial Exhibition. Uh-oh, the lights just went off. Maybe if we step inside, there we go. They'll be re-illuminated. So this is the from the 1897 is where this exhibit began. It says they moved it to a library in Memphis, and then eventually it was moved here. The exhibit was moved here to the Pink Palace, and I really find this sort of thing interesting, like where you have the kind of, so you get to see how museums used to be, kind of how museums were of the time. You know, back then, of course, they were into a lot of taxidermied birds. See all the different birds categorized here and labeled. The different animals up there on the shelf. Chaos reigns, little buddy. Got seashells, fossils, some Confederate memorabilia, and then a fish in a frame. All these different bird nests and bird eggs here, and some Egyptian artifacts, including this mummified hawk. Oh, also a mummified, you can see back in there, there's like a preserved mummified crocodile. You see the wide variety of different weapons here, different weaponry from different time periods and cultures. And because we are in the home, the actual home of the founder of Piggly Wiggly, we have a replica of the first ever Piggly Wiggly in here. Well, I guess we enter through this way. It was Clarence Saunders, who was the original owner of the Pink Palace and the founder of Piggly Wiggly. Of course, there still is Piggly Wiggly stores all across the South. They have them in Wisconsin as well, which is kind of random. But yeah, you get your fresh produce here, and you can kind of see how they were set up. Dry goods on display here, and then they have the refrigerated units where you buy your butter and your milk there. Don't forget your yeast foam and your racially insensitive pancake flour. Back in the day, fresh meat, a little harder to come by, so ate out of cans a lot more. There's some majestic roast beef there, and of course a little bit of deviled ham, which uses the actual devil as a mascot. There's some Jell-O, as well as Knox's sparkling calf's head gelatin, because back then we weren't afraid to admit that Jell-O was made out of cow hoofs. You can see Barnum's animal crackers there. I remember these when I was a kid. They had them in the little boxes where it was set up with the 4 little animals in cages. It was set up to look like a circus car. There's that iconic Piggly Wiggly logo. It says this was first used in 1950s, and it's still in use today. It says there's several stories on how it got the name Piggly Wiggly, but definitely a name you do not forget. One that definitely, I remember hearing it the first time, and the name definitely stuck in my memory. It says that it was also really easy to find impersonators. It says that there was 2 Hoggly Woggly stores in St. Louis that were knockoffs of Piggly Wiggly. And here is the actual entrance of the Pink Palace, and this was originally the lobby of the museum. You'd enter through here. Well, you can look and see the murals up there on the 2nd floor. You'd enter the museum this way, and you can see more taxidermied birds in behind glass. There's a common loon there. It's a ringed kingfisher. You can see some of the artifacts that would have been on display when the Pink Palace first opened in 1930s as a museum. These terrifying bear heads and pig heads here. Almost some Mexican artifacts. Some giant snowshoes there. Also the very interesting bubble-framed birds that you see. Yeah, somehow it does seem like old-timey museums were just 90% birds. See the masks there, that big old devil mask at the top. And then look what they got here, a Sansa, a shrunken human head from the Jivaro tribe in Ecuador. It says this was recovered 1940. Now this says that there's no way to tell if this is a genuine shrunken head or not. So I guess they leave it up in the air, coin flip on whether or not this is an actual human shrunken head. Yeah, looking at these different items here, this caught my eye as having a very strange story. This pistol here, it says this was used by Puerto Rican nationalist Andre Figueroa Cordero, who in March 1st, 1956 attacked the U.S. House of Representatives and fired on congressmen. Now it says that Tennessee Representative Clifford Davis was wounded, as were several other people. And I guess they had a raffle amongst all the people that were wounded, and why would they do that? I've never heard of that. When there's a mass attack, they have a raffle to see who gets to keep the gun. That's completely strange. But he won the raffle. He had been shot by this gun, and after he won it, he donated it to the museum. All right, so we've ascended the stairs up here to the 2nd story of the Pink Palace. And it looks like there is an exhibit over here that looks pretty interesting. This is Clyde Park's miniature circus, and apparently it only operates once or twice a day. It is Saturday, so we have missed the operation of the circus. So apparently once a day the circus will spring to life. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that today, but we can still appreciate the miniature circus here. I guess a little circus parade would go around the tent here. See the menagerie. Who was that? Oh, this is a old woman who lives in a shoe there on that parade float. Looks like the parade would wind over here in front of the sideshow where we see the different performers. There is the fat lady there, who in modern times, you know, It's just a lady. And I guess they have fan dancers, hula dancers. You see the talker out front trying to call people into the sideshow. Yeah, different nursery rhymes on the different parade floats. There's Peter, Peter, Pumpkin Eater. See the clown changing area here. We get a peek here at the actual inside of the circus tent. You can see the different performers. Now, unfortunately, you can see that this is a segregated circus. All the African Americans sitting over on this side. So kind of a reflection of the times, of more unfortunate times there. And then lurking over here in the corner is a big old massive polar bear. So thank you for joining me here today in Memphis, Tennessee. Got to visit the Crystal Shrine Grotto as well as the Pig Palace Museum, also known as the Memphis Museum of Science and History. And as much as I love Memphis, we don't have much time to stick around because tomorrow we will be leaving. I will be waking up, I will be looking at my phone, and whichever city you guys have voted to send me to, I will go to that city, whether it be Branson, Missouri, Hot Springs, Arkansas, or Shreveport, Louisiana. We will continue on our journey. I don't really have a set finish point. We will just see kind of where this takes us, where the wind takes us. Of course, you are the wind, and you will take me where you want me to go, and we'll just see. But we'll see where I end up, and we'll see when this comes to its logical or illogical conclusion. But thank you so much for coming along. If you like these videos, do subscribe. I travel around the country. I film roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun, random stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more will get you a postcard once a month from me to you. If you'd like to help in other ways, consider purchasing an enamel pin through the Etsy shop. Also doing personalized messages on Cameo. All those are different ways to help keep this train on the track, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Till next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.